28, stabbed his wife to death on September 1, 2017, and claimed he had no idea how it happened. However, a dark secret was revealed by an Instagram account. Lauren Hugelmaier, 29, and her husband, Matthew Phelps, 28, appeared to have it all from afar. They had only been married for a little over a year and were still on their honeymoon. The couple met in middle school, and both lived in Kentucky, USA. Even though they were different in many ways, they had some things in common, and both loved Star Wars. Lauren was very religious, hardworking, and financially stable. Matthew had a very rough upbringing and a strong desire to kill. He never knew his dad, and his mother was not fully involved in his life. She remarried multiple times, and though he tried to form some relationship with his stepdads, it never worked, so his grandparents took him in and raised him as their own. However, despite all the love and support they gave him, Matthew had demons of his own. As soon as he got into high school, he began hanging around with the wrong crowd and started taking drugs. His grandparents, who had done everything they could to give him a better life, and decided to move him to a private Christian school. They hoped that their values, beliefs, and strict rules would place him on the right path and make him a better man. However, despite their wishes coming to pass and even convincing Matthew to be a preacher, the change was short-lived. Due to undisclosed reasons, at some point, the Hugelmaiers relocated to North Carolina, and for years Lauren and Matthew never spoke. However, that changed when he messaged her on Instagram and liked all her pictures. The two began talking. It went from DMing on Instagram to texting, to talking on the phone and doing video chats. They continued this for a while, until one day Matthew decided to move to North Carolina so they could end the long distance. Lauren's family and her family's father had suspicions about him. He thought that there was just something off about him, loved him and thought he was amazing, for the most part. When they invited him over for a family game night, his suspicions were confirmed. They were playing 20 questions, and it was eventually revealed that he had previously been married. Everyone thought it was odd that he hadn't mentioned it before and wasn't saying much about it. They would ask him questions, but he would refuse to answer the majority of them. Lauren got over it and moved on. The rest of her family remained cautious about him. He told her that he wanted to become a pastor, and Lauren loved this. This news kind of sealed the deal, and she knew this was the man she wanted to spend her life with, and became engaged in 2015. The newly engaged couple hosted an engagement party, but most of the guests were Lauren's family and friends. When Matthew's mother arrived, she did something that hurt Lauren and left a bad taste in her family's mouth. She arrived in a white gown, and everyone knows that you never wear white to someone's engagement party or wedding. Lauren and his mother had a lot of disagreements throughout their engagement. Lauren tried to put their issues behind her, and continued with the wedding. The two became married the following year in November, 2016. However, as soon as the wedding was over, their marriage began to fall apart. They began to fight frequently, and there was a lot of tension between them. Matthew's mother was a source of contention in their marriage. Lauren was very hardworking her entire life and worked 2 jobs while married to Matthew. The first one was an auditor for a Fortune 500 company, and the second was a babysitter and working in a church daycare. She also had her own side business where she made candles and sold them. Matthew was always between jobs and never seemed to hold one down for more than a few months. Lauren's friends, including her sister Beth, all mentioned that she would text them all the time about her stress, and told them she was really considering leaving Matthew, and that she wasn't happy anymore, and he turned into a whole different person. She just wanted to keep trying at first, because she's religious and didn't want to divorce. All of that changed one night while she was on the phone with her sister while cooking dinner for Matthew. There was a knock on the door, and Matthew answered it by saying he was leaving to hang out with a friend named Valerie. Lauren was upset and said she was cooking dinner, and he left, saying he would be back soon. She waited for him to return until she received a text from him saying, "Just eat dinner without me. I'm having a lot of fun with Valerie." Lauren had reached her breaking point. She texted her sister and told her that she was finally done with him. At 1 a.m. on September 1, 2017, 911 dispatchers received a concerning phone call from Matthew Phelps.
There's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
Okay, do you think she is beyond any help?
I don't know. I'm too scared to get too close.
Matthew told them that he awoke to find his wife dead on the floor, blood everywhere, and a knife in his bed. He told them he felt like he killed her, but he had no memory of doing so and blamed it on taking too much cough medicine before bed. Odd. Shortly after the 911 call was made, police arrived at the scene and found Lauren, covered in blood, lying in a fetal position on the floor of their bedroom, holding clumps of her own hair in both of her hands. Matthew was arrested immediately. Lauren's autopsy confirmed that she was stabbed 123 times. After the police found her body, they went to her parents' home to notify them about what happened. When her mother answered the door, she knew something terrible had happened, considering the police were showing up extremely early in the morning. Her mother asked the police if it was Lauren, and the officer said yes. She asked if she was dead, the officer said yes. Then she asked if it was Matthew. The officer asked her why she would ask him that, and she told him that she just had a feeling. When the officer said that it was him, she broke down in tears. During the trial, defense didn't really have a leg to stand on and had an overwhelming amount of evidence against them. It didn't help that Matthew was stated to be completely aware of what he was doing, and there wasn't nearly enough cold medicine in his system to cause any kind of crime, let alone commit a brutal murder. Investigators also did a luminal test around their apartment to try and find any blood that might have been cleaned up before the 911 call was made. There were traces of blood all over the bathroom, on the sink, the walls, everywhere. Matthew was obsessed with a movie called American Psycho, which is about a serial killer. In the last photo he posted to his Instagram account, on the night before the murder, he wrote, "Everyone thinks I'm a serial killer # found an angel to kill." Matthew took a plea deal on October 5, 2018, to commit first-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.